news has just been confirmed that Man United have agreed terms with Red Bull Leipzig for Benjamin Šeško. Benjamin Šeško is soon joining the club. This follows the signings of Cunha or Diego Leon, Cunha, and Embuemo. Now we've got Benjamin Šeško, the centre forward who played for Red Bull Leipzig, and everybody's been kind of hyped on him. He's finally agreed to join the club. He spurned the chance to go to Newcastle. According to some people out there, Newcastle actually offered him more wages. Newcastle also submitted a higher fee to Red Bull Leipzig, but Benjamin Šeško, once he found out that Man United were interested, opted to sign for United. So he signed for United for less money. Now again, it's not going to be, super considerably less. It's not like he's taking a 100 grand pay cut, but still it's quite nice to see and hear players who want to join United because they want to join United. Because in the past, we had a reputation for attracting mercenaries because we offered really fucking good wages. Think about it, I think players like Luke Shaw, Luke Shaw's probably still on more money than fucking Saka and shit, you know what I mean? Like, we pay people good amount of money. Like, Sancho's on decent money too. Casemiro's probably making a bucket load of cash at United. So it's good to see that with this, Ineos coming in, they have somewhat, even though I'm not been the biggest fan of how they've approached the transfer window, the one thing I have liked is their approach to signing or identifying players who clearly want to play for a club. And that kind of helps because we're kind of going through a bit of a bad period at the moment. We haven't got European football. We don't really have much to offer these players. So if they're coming here with the best intentions of helping the club go back to where it kind of belongs, that's a great place to start. Now, when it comes to Benjamin Šeško, I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched a single game of him playing, ever. I've only seen highlight reels of him banging in crazy goals from crazy distances, of him doing crazy headers, overhead kicks and stuff. He kind of reminds me of an Ibrahimovic regen. He's also Serbian. He's at 6'5", very aggressive, clearly looking. So that's a good start. But if you held a gun to my head, I would have probably said I would have preferred us to have signed 2 midfielders, maybe even 3, or maybe 2 midfielders and a wing back. Then I would have gone for a striker. I think we could have got away with having the team that we have now, with the signings we have now, if we added 2 midfielders and a wing back, specifically maybe a left wing back. I feel like we're really light in that department. I don't rate Dallo. I fucking hate Luke Shaw. Diego, Leon is a young player. Malacia is obviously wanting to be sold. So I think we're really lacking on that left hand side. I think on the right hand side we can probably make do. But I think on that right wing back position, we're really lacking an out and out proper bombing attacking fullback. And of course, in midfield, we're lacking defensive midfielders. We're also lacking a ball carrying midfielder, and just maybe someone even to kind of take up maybe be an option for when Bruno is having one of his off games that he usually does. So I would have went for that personally. I think we could have got away with Højlund up front. Whoever we went to play up front, I don't think that's a problem. I still think there's this weird feeling, weird assumption within our fan base that Højlund is the worst striker in the world, and if we get the best striker in the world in this same team, that he's now going to score millions of goals. I don't think that's true. I can't remember last season Højlund missing a boatload of clear-cut chances. Was he not playing well in general as a striker, Højlund? Yes. Not maybe holding up the ball, not maybe linking up play well, maybe not being in the right position, but I don't really like this kind of feeling, this sentiment that Højlund is a problem and Højlund's the reason why we're not scoring goals. Because if we don't have the players in midfield to get the ball to Šeško, we're going to see the same issues that we saw with Højlund. Šeško's going to be feeding on scraps, and when he does finally get the ball, he's going to be fucking erratic and just kind of go for it because he feels like he's not being involved. And then he's going to fucking kill his spirit, and then we're going to have another Højlund situation. So I think it's very important for whatever Amarin's doing in terms of our style of play to kind of make sure that we work out a system, a style of play that gets the ball to the strikers in the most advantageous position for them to score. But I don't think this idea of just getting a better quote-unquote striker than Højlund is actually going to save our situation up front. I think it's far more complex than that. But in terms of a profile, I'm happy we got him. He seems to be a lot more physically imposing. He seems to do well with holding up the play, linking the play. On the ball, he looks a little bit shaky. Not going to lie, he's not the most fluid, silky of players. He's not exactly Ibrahimovic when it comes on the ball. But I love his ball striking ability. I love the fact that he heads the ball too. He kind of reminds me of Mitrovic when he gets in the air. Maybe it's his haircut, but he kind of reminds me of Mitrovic. He's like very aggressive, uses his elbows, really gets up there and attacks the ball. Doesn't just, some players just jump for the sake of jumping. I know I used to do it when I used to play Sunday League sometimes. You're not really ahead of the ball, you just jump because you just want to jump and not look like you're being a pussy. So I like he's aggressive in that sense. And also, obviously, the highlight reel of goals is fucking scary. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. Here's confirmation courtesy of Fabrizio Romano. This is Fabrizio Romano on Twitter, said Benjamin Šeško and his agent Elvis Basonovic on the way to Manchester. Oh, big up Didi, he's Slovenian, sorry, my bad, not Serbian, Slovenian. The first pick of Šeško since becoming new Manchester United player, club he wanted. He's landing tonight, medical and signature on Friday, unveiling on Saturday. Allegedly, they told him, don't worry, come tomorrow. He said, no, I'm doing it tonight. So he's super hungry to come to the club, super hungry, super on it to get started and hit the ground running. This is the kind of attitude that you'd love to see. Again, we all know most football players are in it for the money and don't really give a fuck about the badge or what they're wearing. But because we're in such a bad position now, we probably need all the players that we can get that really want to be at the club. We need that. We desperately need that right now because we don't have anything else to offer them. And if we want to get back to where we want to get back to, we need players who are willing to kind of die for the fucking badge. And this player looks like he's on that sort of timing because he has rushed through with this transfer because he's desperate to join the club. He could have come tomorrow, but he wanted to fly to Manchester today and get everything locked and loaded. So I'm properly happy about that. Another update courtesy of Fabrizio Romano is regarding Rasmus Højlund, obviously. It says AC Milan are aware of the possible opportunity on initial loan with heavy loan fee and salary covered. Højlund insists on staying at United, not scared by competition. I would actually keep him. I don't understand why we're letting him go, because if Šeško gets injured, God forbid he doesn't get injured. If Šeško gets injured, we're in the same position. We're in the same predicament again that we were before. Like, do you know what I mean? And I don't rate Cunha up front. I think, he's not the best up front. I think he works better off the wings. I don't like him through the middle. I like him either on the wings or playing behind the striker. I don't rate Mbeumo up front when he's on either. I think he works better coming off the wings also. So I would prefer if Højlund and Šeško played, had competition with each other. If anything, it would also help Højlund too take the pressure off him too, because he's been carrying the club on his back as a number 9 for the majority of the time he's been at the club. I don't think that's fair either for such a young striker. We kind of put him in the shit in that regard, and I think he's a lot better than what he's basically shown, especially with that first season. I don't think people should look him on his first season or rate him for his first, or rate him for the previous season. Second, I think they should rate him for his first season and potentially should at Atalanta. So if it was me, I would keep him at the club. And as well, we've got a million games coming up. You never know what happens with injuries, the pace of the Premier League. You never know if Šeško is going to hit the ground running or not. I don't understand why we would let him go. It doesn't make any sense. We need the bodies, especially in the squad in general. Same thing goes with Anthony. I don't understand even why we don't keep him as an option in the squad. But hey, maybe the manager just doesn't think he's going to fit the system. But personally, I wouldn't send Rasmus Højlund on loan. I would keep him as a backup, as a rotation option, and I would allow both players to fight for their position in the squad, because there's no guarantee that Šeško is going to be a success anyway, because he's coming from another league. I'm not, honestly, maybe I've been burned too many times, but I'm very skeptical about these players coming from other leagues, especially a player like Šeško who's got a great highlight reel. Look what's happened to Victor Gyökeres already at fucking Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres already at Arsenal is looking like a fucking bum. And that's more to do with, I reckon, the pace of the Premier League, or the changing pace of the club he's at now in Arsenal. Maybe also the fact that maybe he wasn't ever as good as the highlight reel made it seem as. If you watch him day to day, I think I've heard a lot of people on YouTube say if you actually watch Victor Gyökeres play, you'd see he wasn't maybe as good as the highlight reels anyway. So I'm skeptical. As much as I love Šeško, I'm not sure if he's going to hit the ground running. Højlund's already had 2 seasons at the club. He knows the Premier League inside and out. He might respond well to competition. I'm a big fan of having competition in squads. I think even in our squad, we're probably lacking competition for Bruno Fernandes. I feel like if we had a direct competition, if Bruno Fernandes' position was under threat by somebody in that club, in that squad, I think we'd get a much better version of fucking Bruno Fernandes, but we don't. That's why he fucking stinks up the place for the most of the time. So I would keep Højlund at the club. Don't let him go. Let him be competition for Šeško. Let's have competition for him. Let them both push each other. They're both fairly young players. I think maybe Højlund might be a couple of years older than fucking Šeško. Not too sure. But they're both not established strikers anyway. So let's let them both fucking compete for that number 1 spot. And obviously it'll serve us better in the club, because we'll get both strikers who are hungry, gnawing away at the fucking chance to fucking score goals goals, and obviously lead the United back to the fucking title chart. So I would personally keep Rasmus Højlund if it was me. Obviously, here's another detail too, courtesy of Florian Plettenberg regarding Šeško. It says to make the deal with Manchester United possible, Benjamin Šeško has agreed to waive part of his salary. He could have earned that more at Newcastle. His agency, led by Elvis Basanovic, has also been given a significant share of the commission. This is necessary to push the move forward with United over the line. Medical and contract signing until 2030 are scheduled within the next 72 hours. So this kid really wanted to join the club. Really wanted to join the club under any circumstance as soon as you saw it happening. And you kind of have to feel for fucking Newcastle. You kind of have to feel for Newcastle because he would have been the perfect replacement for Isak, especially in terms of his profile, his stature and shit. But now they're in a weird situation, Newcastle, because Isak has made it very clear he wants to go to Liverpool. Isak has made it very clear he wants to go to Liverpool. So now they have a player who they know doesn't want to be there. Liverpool aren't paying the price that they want to let him go. So now they're going to have to try to reintegrate him back into the squad because he's too valuable. But he's also not going to be happy that he's there. And they don't have an option to sign. And then the player that they wanted to replace him, if he did go to Liverpool, has signed to United. And Newcastle have Champions League football to offer them, you know? That's got to be a real fucking bummer. Newcastle have fucking European football to offer players, and players still choose a club that finished 15th last season as a place to go. It must be a fucking bummer, but that's one of the great things about going for trophies, about being a big club like United are. Even though you have fucking 15 plus years of fucking abject failure, you can still ride off the back of that kind of previous, you know, reign of fucking success. Which is why it's important, as I said, for both teams to go after fucking trophies, go after glory, because it can kind of, you know, you can kind of pay dividends later on down the line when you maybe go through a bad spell and form. So big up Šeško for that. Big up fucking Šeško for that one.